very good morning to Miss Patricia. So today our group will present about flexibility. So before we begin, I'd like to introduce our group. So myself, my name is Aaron Eli Anak Nicholas Apik, and my group partner is Alice Ajay. So today we're gonna explain and present about flexibility. So, introduction to flexibility. So, according to sport definition, the capacity of a joint or muscle to move through its full range of motion, specific to a particular movement or joint, and the degree of flexibility can vary around the body. And each joint and muscle have different flexibility. So, at the definition, I want to highlight about the capacity of joint or muscle. That means the factor that affect flexibility is joint or muscle. So if your joint and muscle can be stretched uh, longer than anybody else, this means your muscle and joint can be have more flexible and can be elongate or stretch its full range of motion. So each joint and muscle have different flexibility. This means your upper limb or your lower limb has the joint and the muscle have very different flexibility. Some area of body may seem tight. That means muscle that feel short and restricted. If the area feel very loose, those muscle can move freely that other area. So that means your body is more flexible. Main fitness component, important physical attribute, and it also can prevent injury. So this is the top sport requiring flexibility. So the sport are gymnastic, diving, and figure skating.
Hi, Miss Patricia. I'm Alice Ajin. I'm gonna talk about the flexibility, which is component that affect flexibility. There are three components that affect flexibility, which is muscle elasticity and length, nervous system, and joint structure. The three components can be positively impacted by regular flexibility training. Benefits of flexibility, which is favor injury, improve circulation, enhance posture, and enhance coordination. For the first is favor injury. It may correct the muscle imbalance with combination of strengthening and stretching the muscle. Withstand physical stress during physical activity because of strength and flexibility development. Next is improve circulation. Increase the blood flow to the muscle and bring nourishment and get rid of waste product at the muscle tissues. Next is enhanced posture. Flexibility prevents muscle from getting tight. Also maintain the proper posture and better body stability and functions. Last but not least is enhanced coordination. Maintaining the range of motions through our joint and keep us in better balance. This can keep us mobile and balance also less prone to injury.
So we move to the flexibility test. So we will present to you two type of flexibility tests. So the first one is sit and reach test, and the second one is 5 level sit up test. So the first one is sit and reach test. It is first described by Well and Dillon in 1952. It's common and simple test to measure flexibility and used to measure the flexibility of our lower back and the hamstring muscle. This test is important because the tightness in this area is implicated in lumbar lordosis, forward pelvic tilt, and lower back pain. So this is the equipment for the sit and reach test. So at the introduction for the sit and reach test, It stated that it's common and simple test. Why? Because the equipment for need that require to perform the sit and reach test is very simple. Uh, you only need one equipment, which is sit and reach box, or if you don't have the sit and reach box, you can use the alternative way, which is step and your roller. So the procedure. The first procedure is warm up and do some stretching first. So it's very important for us to warm up and stretching to wake our body muscle. Second one is remove your shoes and sit on flat floor. The third one is legs stretch out straight and sole of the feet against the box. And remember, our knees should be pressed and be locked to the floor. If you cannot press, ask for someone else to help you to press and make sure your knee is locked to the floor. Then our hand, the fourth step is our hand, which is our palm, facing downward and hand on top of each other on the line of the box or your ruler. So then reach forward along the measurement line or measurement line, also is we call ruler, as far as possible. So number six, make sure that both hands remain at the same level and no jerky movement of the hand. So this means your hand must remain at the same level and no make sure no other finger is higher or shorter than other. So make sure it's the same level and no jerky movement of the hand. And then after some practice, follow step number 5, but this time hold that position for 2 seconds. So step number 7 is actually where we read and record our score. Uh, our score. Ask somebody else to read and note down your record. So the number 8, record the distance in centimeter or inches. So number 9, repeat step 7 or 8 for 2 times and calculate average. So make sure each person repeat this test at least 3 times and make sure at the end of the after you finish, make sure you calculate your score average. So we have some video about sit and reach. So uh, to make sure everybody else understand uh, what is sit and reach test, what we're gonna do, how we perform it. So this is the video.
Our next test is our sit and reach test. For this test we need to use a sit and reach box. It's important that we anchor the box against a wall. For the demonstration today we're going to be using a bench just to make sure it doesn't move. Now when you're doing any sort of flexibility testing, and in this case the sit and reach, we want to make sure that our client is physically warm. So this test should only ever be done after doing aerobic testing. The rules for using this box in a sit and reach test are pretty simple. We want to make sure that our client takes their shoes off so that we're actually measuring their range through their hamstrings and lower back, not affected by the angle of their ankle. The second rule is we must keep their legs straight. So we want to make sure that the knees are locked out, and the tester is required to just rest their hand on the top of the knees to make sure that there's no flexion as they're reaching forward. Now the client is required to reach as far along the scale as they can, and they must hold it for a count of 3. So it's not a bounce, it's a hold. So it's important that the client doesn't actually overstretch and push to the point of pain. Now with Weston, he's already warmed up. So what I'm going to get Weston to do is put both hands on top of each other so his middle fingers line up. And I'm going to be measuring how far along this scale his middle fingers can move. Once he gets to the end point of his range of motion, he needs to hold it for a count of 3 seconds and then he gets to release. Okay, so I'm right to put my hand on your knees? Correct. Excellent. Whenever you're ready. 2, 3, and release. Okay, now that I know what Weston's range is, he would have 2 more attempts to try and better that score.
And then we go to sit and reach about scoring. So we divide the scoring into two parts, which is men and women. So this is on the left side. The most left side we have the grading is super, excellent, good, and then average, fair, poor, and very poor. So the score is depend on you, either you want to use the centimeter or inches. So this is the table that you can use to compare which grading are you in the flexibility test. So what are disadvantages and advantages of this sit and reach test? So variation in arm length and trunk length can make comparison between individual misleading. So if you have a long arm, it's actually it will help you better in this flexibility test because you have a long arm, so you can reach as far as possible as we compare to other person that have a normal or shorter arm. So it's not relevant to other part of the body test. So the advantages are it's easy and quick test to perform.
The next flexibility test is 5-level sit-up test. It's an indicator of core strength, stability and support of lower back. Commonly used to the test the ability of abdominal muscle and the lower back flexibility. The test is not about doing it repeated sit-up, but doing an increase in the difficulty on spur level. The equipment for 5-level sit-up is yoga mat. And the procedure for 5-level sit-up is warm up and do some stretching before proceed the sit-up test. The subject lies on the flat surface on their back with knees at right angle. Next, the subject then attempt to perform one completed sit-up for each level starting with level 1, and each level is achieved if single sit-up is performed completely in the prescribed manner of each level. There is a video that show you how to do the 5-level sit-up.
Today I will show you 5-level sit-up conducted by me, which is philosophy of muscle. The targeted muscle of this 5-level sit-up is abdominal muscle, which is important in back support and core stability. The equipment of this test, you just use yoga mat. Okay, now I will show you the proper technique to do 5-level sit-up. This test must be performed once only per level.
Do you ever get that feel that you can't shift the tide that sticks around like summits in your teeth? Are there some aces up your sleeve? Have you no idea that you're in deep? I dreamt about you nearly every night this week. How many secrets can you keep? Cause there's this tune I found that makes me think of you somehow, and I play it on repeat until I fall asleep, spilling drinks on my settee. Do I wanna know if this feeling flows both ways? Sorta hoping that you'd stay. We both know that the nights were mainly made for saying things that you can't say tomorrow day. Crawling back to you, never thought I'd call and run. You're right, you.
Scoring of 5-level sit-up. For level 0, cannot perform level 1. the rating is very poor. Level 1, arms extended, curls up the rise, reach the knees, the rating is poor. Level 2, arms extended, curls up until the elbow reach the knees, the rating is fair. Level 3, arms held together across abdominal, curls up until the chest touch the thighs, the rating is average. Level 4, arms held together across chest while holding opposite shoulder, curls up until forearms touch the thighs. The rating is good. For level 5 is hands held behind head, curls up until the chest touch the thighs. The rating is very good. The next slide is about the disadvantage and advantage of 5 level sit-up test. So we go to the first is disadvantage. The people with heavy body find it difficult to do the 5 level sit-up test because it hurts to keep their feet on the ground. For the advantage of 5 level sit-up is the moderate size of group can be tested at once and minimal equipment required. As a conclusion, flexibility is one of fitness component. Flexibility is important not only to athletes but non-athletes to ensure our healthy. Last but not least, flexibility tests can be performed easily because some of it does not require many equipment. That's all from us. Thank you.